Hey, today I want to talk about how to learn jazz bass in just 5 minutes. I'll see you inside the video. Hey, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and today I want to show you 2 bars that changed my musical life forever. Now, I know the title of this video, Learn Jazz Bass in Less Than 5 Minutes, is plainly ridiculous, particularly as a conservatoire trained musician who spent 4 years studying this subject and knows full well it's a lifelong voyage of discovery learning this style of music. But there is a serious story behind this which I want to share with you. But before we get going today, I want you to know there's a completely free PDF which comes with this lesson, which will show you everything we're discussing today written out in standard notation and tablature. There's a link in the description below where you can download your free copy. Also, one more thing, I'm on a mission. I discovered recently that 80% of people who watch the eBassGuitar YouTube channel are not subscribed to it. So I've been asking you guys now for a few weeks, can you subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed to it? Because my aim is to get this down to 50% over the next 6 months or so, and every subscriber counts. The more subscribers we get, the more great quality bass educational content we can keep putting out there. So hit that red subscribe button, which is somewhere around this video. So let me give you the story and the context to these 2 bars. Years ago, when I was first starting out, I was playing the electric guitar and the bass guitar, and nothing I would do or play on the instrument sounded like jazz. Jazz was just this complete enigma, which for years I felt I could never get anywhere near. So I'd listen to my dad, who is also a bass player, and his friend Mike jamming, and I'd write down these chords like C7, G flat 9, A13, for instance. I'd go to play them and they would sound nothing like what they were playing. And then there was this light bulb moment when my dad's friend Mike said, try this. And literally in less than 5 minutes, I started getting the jazz sound in my head because I was using the correct voicings on the instrument. So what I'm going to show you today is these 2 bars, which I originally learned on the electric guitar, but then I realized they work just as well on the bass guitar too. So here are the 2 bars that were my gateway into playing jazz. So let's take that pattern apart. It's not as hard as it might first seem. So this is based on what we call a 1, 6, 2, 5 chord sequence. And we're going to do this all with 7th chords. So that's going to be an F7, a D7, a G7, and a C7 like that. So first of all, I just literally want you to play the root notes 2 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then what we're going to do is we are going to put a walking bass line to this using chromatic approach notes. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to play the F, then we're going to chromatically approach the D via a C sharp, then we're going to go to the G chord via an approach note above, which is the A flat, and then to the C chord via the chromatic approach note above, which is a D flat, and then down to the G flat to get us back to the F. And we end up with the bass line that sounds like this. Now, to play the rest of this chord sequence, what I want you to do is practice that down the octave. Then I want you to put it up the octave so it sounds like this. Let's hear what that sounds like with the drum track. So let's look at the chords now, and this is where the light bulbs really started going off for me all those years ago. And I saw exactly the same thing just a few days ago when I was working one-to-one with Misty, one of our Bass Lab VIP students, and I started showing her these same chords. So let's look at the F7 first of all. So the F7 is simply an F at the 13th fret on the E string, an E flat at the 13th fret on the D string, and then the A at the 14th fret on the G string, like so. And I want you to play this with the first, the second, and the third finger, and then pluck it using your thumb and first and second finger. So it sounds like this, like so. Now let's look at the D7 chord. It sounds like this. And what that is a D at the 17th fret on the A string with the second finger, and then an F sharp with your first finger at the 16th fret on the D string, and then back to the 17th fret on the G string is a C, like so. So you're using the second, the first, and the third finger. Let's look at the G7 chord now. So that is the same shape as the F7, but up a whole step. So the G is at the 15th fret on the E string, the F is at the 15th fret on the D string, and then the B is at the 16th fret on the G string, like so. And then the last of our chords is the C7, which is exactly the same as the D7, but back a whole step. So it sounds like this. The C is at the 15th fret, and then the E is at the 14th fret, and then the B flat is on the G string at the 15th fret, using the fingers second, first, and third, like so. So we end up with these 4 chords. Now, I want to point out something really, really important, which I only noticed a few years later after learning this pattern here. If we take the 2 notes that are on the G string, like so, what you'll notice if you isolate them and take it through the chord sequence, we end up with this. And this pattern is what's called a tritone. Now, don't worry about that technical terminology, but it's very common in the world of jazz, and it's very significant, that chromatic descending idea which is going on. And that really is the key to opening up the jazz sound. So what I want to do is just play those chords with the drum track now so you can hear them in context. Now, to finish off this pattern, what we're going to do is we're going to fuse the chords and the bass line together. And this sounds super cool. So I'm going to talk you through how to do this. And what we need to do is we need to separate the bass note and the 2 top notes of the chord. So let me talk you through this. On the F7, we're going to play the low note, the F, and then go up to the tritone at the top, like the top 2 notes. So we're going to take a little break. Then we're going to play the next walking bass note, the C sharp. And that's going to lead us into our next root note of the D. So the low note of the D7 chord, and then the 2 upper notes. Little break, and then we're going to play the chromatic approach note to get us to the G of the bass line, then the G, and then the 2 top notes of the G7 chord. Little break, and then we are going to go to the chromatic approach note, which is the C sharp or D flat. Going to take us into the C7 chord. And then the 2 top notes of the C7 chord, and then the chromatic approach note to take us back to the F. So let me play you that very slowly in isolation. So start playing that pattern very slowly and then speed it up and then try it with a drum track so it sounds like this. Guys, that's the end of today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got no idea if I taught that in less than 5 minutes, but that is what my dad's friend Mike said to me all of those years ago, and it's what got me into being able to play this style and get the sound of those great chords on the instrument. So please give it a go. Download the PDF which comes with this lesson. If you need any help learning walking bass or jazz, please do head over to eBassGuitar.com. Check out the Bass Lab Plus. That's my private members community. If you want to take it for a test drive, subscribe, there's a link in the description below where you can try out free, completely free for 14 days. Cheers, I've been James from eBassGuitar.com and I will catch you next week.